Hello out there, listeners. Welcome back to the Hero Whispers here with Supergirls and Chief Supergirl Jeannie Marie. That's me. Today we have an amazing guest, Olivia Haskell, who actually hails from my hometown in Connecticut. And she just graduated from Connecticut College, so we will congratulate her. But before we get to her, I just want to kind of remind everyone, or if you're new to the show, kind of talk to you a little bit about Supergirls and what it is that we do. We are a platform to help inspire college women and young college alums to launch into the real world and help them, support them, navigate all of the challenges of the crazy world after they graduate from the college bubble. So we provide coaching, we have live events, we help with networking, career counseling. We do all kinds of stuff like that. And on the podcast, we talk to these real live Supergirls and hear about their lives and all these amazing things that they're up to. So today, like I said, I have the pleasure of welcoming Olivia Haskell. Welcome to the show, Olivia. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm so excited to have her. She is Olivia Haskell. She's 21, born and raised in Norwalk, Connecticut. That's actually where I grew up. So it's so super cool to have another nutmegger on the show. She recently graduated from Connecticut College this past May, majoring in economics and minoring in psych and sociology. Oh my God, lots of stuff there. At Conn, she was captain of the women's varsity swim team. Swimming has been a large part of her life for as long as she can remember and has really shaped her into who she is today. Her other involvements range from the Women's Empowerment Initiative to Student Activities Council and to an internship with Conn's Office of Sexual Violence Prevention and Advocacy. The OSVPA has been a large part of her experience at Conn, and she's really passionate about sexual violence prevention. Working for the office has allowed her to become a peer educator for the campus community and provided her with opportunities to get involved in areas of our campus community, her campus community, that she would not have done otherwise. Her education at Conn has led her to pursue a career as a sales development representative for CB Insights in New York City. She is really excited for this next chapter of her life and cannot wait to see where it takes her. Congrats on your graduation. Huge accomplishment. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So much to talk about. I do not even know where to start. So I guess you have done so many things. You majored in it says minors, but really it's the same thing. I mean, what's the difference? You're still studying your face off. So, congrats on all those achievements. And the swimming and doing all of that, plus being captain of the swim team, which is huge. A college sport is super, super intense from what I understand. And
yeah,
so
it's definitely tough.
Amazing. Did you have a scholarship at Conn?
No. So because Conn's Division III, they actually don't give scholarships for swimming. So I was just sort of doing it because I love it. And it was definitely a big commitment, but I would say overall it definitely paid off and it was worthwhile.
It's amazing. Yeah. Congratulations on that too. What do you think it is that drove you to this major excellence level that you got to in your college career?
Sure. Well, honestly, I think first and foremost, I'm very lucky and very privileged to have been raised by two amazing parents who, really instilled, encouraged me to always push myself and be motivated and be driven and stuff like that. But then as I began to sort of explore different avenues, whether it be with school or with sports, I sort of picked up skills along the way that I would say not only helped me. So with swimming, I learned a ton of time management, balancing swimming and school and friends and all that growing up. And then that totally benefited me when it came to college and sort of managing my time in that way. And then in turn, with school, discipline, I think was a really big thing that I learned there. And that sort of helped in swimming and in the office that I was working in. And it all sort of compacted and really benefited me in more ways than one, I would say.
That is tremendous. I love how you start out with the gratitude. Let's give a shout out to Elizabeth and Rob. Okay, Elizabeth and Rob, where I actually went to high school with them. at the same time, not the same school, but so cool that, it's really special that I get to speak to Olivia. And also Olivia is friends with my son, Mark, who goes to Connecticut College now too. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, it's a small world, right? It's 6 degrees of separation for real.
Very small, very small.
So what made you choose Conn?
Yeah, so honestly, I mean, when I was going through the whole college process, I definitely knew I wanted to be at a smaller school. I liked the idea of sort of getting to know everybody, and the thought of going to a huge state school was a little bit overwhelming at the time. So I sort of started off with that, like small liberal arts schools. And I wanted to be challenged both academically and athletically because I knew that swimming was a big part of my life and would be in college as well. And then my uncle is a Conn alum. So that's how I first got introduced to Conn. So I hadn't really heard of it because it's a very small school. So, I'm sure not many people have heard of it right off the bat. But I did all the info sessions and the tours. And after sort of comparing it to the other schools that I was looking at the time, I was like, you know what? This is totally the place for me. I know it. So I applied early decision and all of that. So I knew pretty quickly once I began looking at it and comparing it. But originally, I hadn't really thought about it at all. So it sort of fell into place, but I think it was a great fit.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like you were like a fish in water. They say fish out of water.
Right.
But what's funny about the Connecticut College too is, I grew up in Norwalk too, and I never even heard of it either. And I grew up in Connecticut. That was a long time ago. Don't get me wrong, but still, it's definitely more widely known now than ever, and it's becoming, we have a lot of amazing people that graduate from there, like yourself. So I'm glad you chose it because it's a special place.
Me too.
For real.
Very special.
How was, if you had to say, describe your overall experience, what are some of the, main good memories that you have from there? Like things that stick out in your mind? Would it be swimming?
I would say that there's a ton. Like my overall experience was incredible. I would say there's so many different factors. I would say my freshman year, my first year, it was a lot of just school and swimming. And so that really had a large impact. And I would say that swimming definitely had a large impact all the way through. But as I began to get more involved in different things, like whether it be the Women's Empowerment Initiative or Safety Net and the Office of Sexual Violence Prevention, and even going abroad, I studied abroad the fall of my junior year. I would say all of those sort of compiled into this overall experience that I had never even imagined. And so while I originally thought that swimming would really have the biggest impact, I would say that actually wasn't the case. It did have a large impact, but I would say that overall, like things like going abroad and, even taking classes within my major and having the ability to take classes outside of my major has really just sort of compiled into this experience that I really had never imagined. So it's been great.
It's like you have so much more to look forward to with all of this stuff in your toolbox. It's really cool. So you mentioned the Women's Initiative, and I really want to dive into that because obviously Supergirls is about empowering girls and girls helping girls and women. And so it's really aligned with, kind of the work you were doing on campus. And I love that you have so much passion around it, even to the point where you became a peer educator. And what got you into there? What drove you to those activities so timely with everything that's going on in the world too? It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. So, I think I've always had a little bit of a passion for social justice issues and women's issues. In high school, I was involved in a group that sort of shed light on human trafficking and child abuse and dating violence. So I would say that was my first glimpse into that world, but I didn't really get that involved my first year, as I sort of mentioned before, because swimming in school, and it was all a big change for me. But I did get Green Dot trained, which is it's a bystander intervention program at Conn. That's a really big deal there, and it really influences our campus community in a positive way. And after I sort of I got Green Dot trained and I was really around other people who were Green Dot trained, I sort of started to realize how it sort of began to develop my passion. And I think, in a more serious note, like a personal note, I know a few people close to me who have been affected by sexual violence. And I think, it's really saddening and hard to see, people you care about go through issues like that. And I've seen how much of an impact it can have on people. And so it really solidified to me the importance of it all and how important it would be to sort of become a peer educator and really help out the campus community, because, there's a lot of stuff going on all college campuses around the country. And I think that any way to sort of bring that, like have more attention on that and really just sort of shed light on the issues surrounding it, that's the first step to truly addressing the issues and hopefully diminishing all the statistics and really helping people out. So I would say I got a taste of it my freshman year, but it wasn't until like sophomore year that I really began to sort of dive into it. And as more personal situations sort of became a part of it as well, it sort of spiraled into me actually becoming an intern for the office, which was definitely a very, very rewarding experience, but also very difficult at times. But I would say that that's sort of why I'm so passionate about these issues, is because I've always sort of been interested, but I also have that a little bit of a personal tie that makes it that much more powerful and that much more meaningful to me. So yeah.
It's really, I really want to commend you on the work that you're doing, because it's a tough subject. I actually had a guest on one of my shows that was affected on campus when she was a freshman, actually, was assaulted. And she shares it now because she feels like that's the way to help people, to put it out there. And she talks about how she survived it and how she got through it and everything. So the fact that you're helping, other people get through it, it's amazing to have that kind of impact on the world and to pay it forward. It's so important. And you're doing it at this young age already, which is like, amazing. So many people just are self-centered. So I'm really touched, that you're so into it. And when you were an intern, did you have specific programs that you came up with, or like what are the kind of things you did when you were an intern?
Yeah, so we do a ton of things during Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October and Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April. Those are our two like main months of programming. And then we also have a Green Dot Week that I believe we did in January. So during those 3 times are sort of our busiest. So we'll do anything from, film screening and discussion to, we'll have a Green Dot dinner on campus, which will just sort of remind people that we exist and of all the resources that they have on campus available to them or outside of campus if they're not comfortable with that. And then we'll do other things as well. So we'll have like a Green Dot hockey game, which is one of our big programs that's very well attended on campus. We also do a lot of smaller things too, like passive campaigns. Like we do These Hands Don't Hurt during Domestic Violence Awareness Month, where everyone sort of, does hand prints, and we'll take a lot of statistics about, not only our campus, but sort of nationwide statistics and stuff like that to truly, just raise awareness, because not only are these issues so difficult to talk about, they're also just not really talked about at all. So really any chance we get to sort of start a conversation and really bring people into that conversation and discuss, how big of an issue this truly is, the more people will feel comfortable coming to our office if they have an issue, because I'm not personally a confidential advocate, but the director of our office, Rachel Stewart, is, as well as 3 other members, faculty members on our campus. So we're really just trying to not only get the word out about the issues, but also make our office known so that people feel comfortable if, God forbid, anything does happen, that they know where to go and how to find help as needed.
Yeah, it's so important when you guys are there, trying to be independent, but some of these things really require support. So important. So thank you for doing that work, Olivia. I have to now ask you, because that was